What do Marilyn Monroe, Elizabeth Taylor, and Mae West share in common? Apart from being beautiful, iconic, they were sex addicts. The details of their darkest sexual desires will astonish you. Join us as we explore the jaw-dropping stories of 10 starlets whose lives were defined by their insatiable desires. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe was the ultimate sex symbol of the 1950s. She had a secret that would shock even the most jaded Hollywood insider. Behind her sultry smile and captivating beauty lay a woman consumed by an insatiable hunger for sex and validation. Born Norma Jean Mortensen, Marilyn's early life was marked by tragedy and abuse. Shuffled from one foster home to another, she learned early on that her sexuality was a powerful tool for survival. As she broke limits and began to rise in Hollywood, Marilyn's addiction to sex and intimacy grew out of control. She sought solace in the arms of countless lovers, from baseball legend Joe DiMaggio to President John F. Kennedy himself. But the more famous Marilyn became, the more her addiction consumed her. She was constantly late to set, often too drunk or too tired from her sexual escapades to function. Her erratic behavior and inability to memorize lines frustrated directors and co-stars alike. But Marilyn couldn't stop. She needed the validation, the rush of being desired by powerful men. Even her marriages to DiMaggio and playwright Arthur Miller couldn't satisfy her cravings. Marilyn's affairs became more reckless and more dangerous. Rumors swirled of orgies, of threesomes with the Kennedy brothers. But the more she gave in to her desires, the more empty she felt inside. In the end, Marilyn's addiction would be her undoing. On August 4, 1962, she was found dead in her Los Angeles home, surrounded by empty bottles of pills. The official cause of death was listed as probable suicide. Marilyn Monroe, the woman who had captivated the world with her beauty and charisma, had finally succumbed to the demons that had haunted her all her life. While Marilyn Monroe's life was cut tragically short by her addiction, another Hollywood icon was just beginning her own battle with sex and scandal. Elizabeth Taylor, with her smoldering violet eyes and tumultuous love life, would soon become the new face of Hollywood's most notorious sex addicts. Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor, the epitome of Hollywood glamour, was a woman of many passions and many husbands. With her stunning beauty and magnetic screen presence, she seemed to have it all. But behind closed doors, Elizabeth was fighting a losing battle against her addiction to sex and love. From her first marriage at the tender age of 18 to hotel heir Nicky Hilton, Elizabeth's love life was a roller coaster of highs and lows. She jumped from one husband to the next, often with barely a breath in between. There was Michael Wilding, Mike Todd, Eddie Fisher, Richard Burton twice, John Warner, and Larry Fortensky. 8 marriages to 7 different men, each one crazier than the last. But Elizabeth's serial marriages were just the tip of the iceberg. Her affairs were legendary, from scandalous trysts with married co-stars to rumored flings with women. She even stole Eddie Fisher away from America's sweetheart, Debbie Reynolds, in a scandal that rocked Hollywood to its core. But the more Elizabeth chased love and validation through sex, the more it eluded her. Her marriages were plagued by jealousy, infidelity, and abuse. She turned to drugs and alcohol to numb the pain, but nothing could fill the void inside her. It wasn't until later in life that Elizabeth began to confront the root of her addiction. She became an outspoken advocate for AIDS research and LGBTQ+ rights, using her platform to raise awareness and fight for change. While Elizabeth Taylor's personal life may have been marred by scandal and heartbreak, her legacy as a trailblazing actress and activist inspires generations. Elizabeth Taylor's unapologetic pursuit of love and pleasure may have been scandalous in her day, but it paled in comparison to the wild antics of another Hollywood sex addict, the infamous Tula Bankhead. Brace yourself for tales of debauchery that would make even Elizabeth blush. Tula Bankhead. Tula Bankhead was the life of the party, and the host of some of the wildest soirees in Hollywood history. Legend has it that the actress once greeted guests at her door wearing nothing but a fur coat and a smile, setting the tone for an evening of unbridled debauchery. She once famously declared, "My father warned me about men and booze, but he never mentioned a word about women and cocaine." It was a fitting motto for a woman whose insatiable appetite for sex and scandal made her the talk of Tinseltown. Born into a prominent political family in Alabama, Tula always had a flair for the dramatic. She took Hollywood by storm in the 1930s, captivating audiences with her husky voice and magnetic presence. But it was off-screen where Tula truly let loose. Her wild parties were the stuff of legend, with guest lists that included everyone from movie stars to mobsters. But Tula's hedonistic lifestyle came at a cost. Her bisexuality was an open secret in Hollywood, and her affairs with both men and women were the subject of endless gossip. She once boasted of having slept with over 500 people in her lifetime. But Tula's most notorious relationship was with actress Patsy Kelly. Their drunken displays of affection and explosive fights became the talk of the town. As Tula's star began to fade, her addiction to sex and substances only grew stronger. She was often too drunk or too high to perform, and her erratic behavior on set made her a liability. But Tula refused to apologize for her wild ways, even as they threatened to destroy her career and life. In the end, Tula Bankhead's unapologetic pursuit of pleasure made her a trailblazer in an era where women were expected to be demure and submissive. While her addictions may have caused her pain and heartache, they also fueled her rebellious spirit and made her an icon of old Hollywood. While Tula Bankhead's wild ways made her a scandal in her day, another Hollywood sex symbol had already taken the world by storm. Clara B, with her smoldering looks and magnetic screen presence, was the epitome of the roaring 20s, and the subject of some of the most shocking rumors in Hollywood history. Clara B, the original it girl of the silver screen, had a secret that threatened to destroy her career at the height of her fame. Rumors swirled of a shocking orgy that involved Clara and the entire USC football team, a scandal that would have ruined any other actress in Hollywood. Born into poverty in Brooklyn, Clara's rise to stardom was nothing short of meteoric. She captured the hearts of audiences with her natural charisma and sex appeal, becoming one of the biggest stars of the silent era. But behind the scenes, Clara's personal life was a mess. She was known for her wild partying and numerous affairs with co-stars and directors. The scandal that would come to define Clara's legacy was the rumored orgy with the USC football team. The story goes that Clara had slept with every member of the team, a tale so shocking that it would have ended any other actress's career. But Clara denied the rumors and no concrete evidence ever surfaced. Still, the damage was done. Clara's reputation as a wild child and a nymphomaniac only grew. And because of that, her career began to suffer. She was labeled box office poison, and studios hesitated to cast her in leading roles. But Clara refused to be shamed into submission. She continued to live life on her own terms, even as the Hollywood machine threatened to chew her up and spit her out. For many of her fans, the scandals that plagued her career may have been exaggerated or even fabricated, but her impact on Hollywood and popular culture cannot be overstated. Clara B's wild child persona made her a scandal in her day. Louise Brooks would become a symbol of the jazz age and a cautionary tale about the price of fame and addiction. Louise Brooks was the iconic flapper with the sleek bobbed haircut who oozed sexuality and rebellion from every pore. But behind her smoldering screen presence, Louise was a woman at war with herself and the Hollywood establishment that sought to control her every move. Born in Kansas, Louise was a dancer before she ever set foot on a movie set. But when she arrived in Hollywood in the 1920s, she quickly became a sensation. With her modern look and daring performances, Louise embodied the spirit of the jazz age. She was a rebel, a free spirit who refused to play by the rules. But Louise's rebellious nature would prove to be both her greatest asset and her greatest downfall. Her refusal to conform to the strict moral codes of the era often landed her in hot water with studio executives. Rumors swirled about her bisexuality and her numerous affairs with both men and women. One of the most scandalous rumors involved Louise's relationship with director George Marshall. The two were said to have had a torrid affair on the set of the 1928 film A Girl in Every Port, leading to Marshall's divorce from his wife. But Louise refused to be shamed or silenced. She continued to live a carefree life, even as the consequences of her actions began to catch up with her. Ultimately, Louise's refusal to compromise her principles would cost her dearly. She was blacklisted by the studios and forced to leave Hollywood behind. Louise Brooks' star may have burned out too soon, but another Hollywood sex symbol was just beginning her rise to fame. Barbara Lamar, known as the girl who was too beautiful, would become the poster girl of addiction and the dark side of Hollywood glamour. Barbara Lamar was a woman cursed by her own beauty. Dubbed the girl who was too beautiful, Barbara's stunning looks and undeniable screen presence made her a sensation in Hollywood. But behind the glamour and the glitz, Barbara was fighting a losing battle against her own demons. Born Reatha Watson in Washington, Barbara's early life was one of tragedy and abuse. She ran away from home as a teenager and began working in vaudeville, where she caught the eye of a Hollywood producer. Soon, Barbara was a rising star, captivating audiences with her exotic beauty and sultry performances. But even as Barbara's star began to rise, her personal life was in shambles. She was married 5 times before the age of 30, and her numerous affairs with both men and women were the talk of the town. Barbara was also struggling with a severe addiction to drugs and alcohol, which began to take a toll on her health and her career. As Barbara's addiction spiraled out of control, her behavior on set became increasingly erratic. She was often late or absent altogether, and her performances began to suffer. But Barbara couldn't seem to escape the grip of her demons. She continued to party and indulge in excess, even as her body began to break down. In the end, Barbara Lamar's beauty and talent were no match for the disease that consumed her. At the age of 29, she died of tuberculosis and nephritis. Her once promising career cut tragically short. Barbara Lamar's life was marked by tragedy and addiction, but Lana Turner, known as the Sweater Girl for her form-fitting attire, would soon find herself at the center of a murder investigation that would captivate the nation. Lana Turner, the ultimate Hollywood blonde bombshell, lived a life filled with scandal, heartbreak, and a dangerous addiction to love. But even her most ardent fans could never have predicted the shocking crime that would forever define her legacy. Born Julia Jean Turner in Idaho, Lana was discovered by chance at a Hollywood drugstore. With her sultry looks and undeniable charisma, she quickly rose to fame as the Sweater Girl, a nickname earned from her form-fitting attire. But behind the glamorous facade, Lana's personal life was a mess of failed marriages, torrid affairs, and a growing addiction to sex and love. Lana's tumultuous love life reached a breaking point in 1958 when her teenage daughter Cheryl stabbed Lana's abusive boyfriend Johnny Stompanato to death in their Beverly Hills home. The scandal rocked Hollywood and thrust Lana into the spotlight in a way she had never experienced before. But even as Lana grappled with the fallout from the murder, she couldn't seem to escape her addiction to toxic relationships. She continued to seek out dangerous men, including notorious gangster Mickey Cohen. But no matter how hard she tried, Lana couldn't find the love and stability she so desperately craved. Lana Turner's life was a cautionary tale about the price of fame and the destructive power of addiction. While she may have been one of the most beautiful women in Hollywood, her inner demons ultimately proved to be her undoing. While Lana Turner's scandalous life made her a tabloid sensation, another Hollywood icon would make headlines for her own tumultuous love affairs. Joan Collins, the smoldering star of the hit TV show Dynasty, would become a symbol of the excesses and indulgences of the 1980s. Joan Collins, the sultry British actress with a penchant for younger men, never met a scandal she didn't like. But even her most salacious headlines paled in comparison to the shocking lawsuit that threatened to derail her career at the height of her fame. Born in London, Joan first gained fame as a Hollywood starlet in the 1950s, but it wasn't until she landed the role of Alexis Carrington on the hit TV show Dynasty that she truly became a household name. With her smoldering looks, sharp tongue, and unapologetic sexuality, Joan was the quintessential 80s diva. But behind the scenes, Joan's love life was a revolving door of younger men and scandalous affairs. She was married 5 times, each union more tumultuous than the last. But it was her relationship with actor Ron Cass that would prove to be the most shocking of all. In 1978, Joan was sued by Cass for adultery, a scandal that made headlines around the world. The trial was a media circus with lurid details of Joan's sex life splashed across the tabloids. But Joan refused to be shamed or silenced. She fought back against the lawsuit even as it threatened to destroy her career. After everything that happened, Joan Collins emerged from the scandal stronger than ever. She continued to work steadily in Hollywood, proving that even the most salacious headlines couldn't keep a good diva down. Well, Joan Collins' unapologetic sexuality made her a symbol of female empowerment. Another Hollywood icon was using her brains to change the world: Hedy Lamar. Hedy Lamar, the stunning Hollywood actress once dubbed the most beautiful woman in the world, had a secret that would shock even her most ardent admirers. Behind her glamorous facade, Hedy was a brilliant inventor whose groundbreaking work would lay the foundation for modern wireless technology. Born in Austria, Hedy first gained fame as an actress in Europe before making her way to Hollywood in the 1930s. With her exotic beauty and undeniable screen presence, she quickly became one of the most sought-after actresses of her generation. But Hedy was more than just a pretty face. She had a brilliant mind and a passion for science and technology that would change the course of history. But even as Hedy's star rose in Hollywood, her personal life was plagued by scandal and heartbreak. She was married 6 times, each union more tumultuous than the last, and her insatiable appetite for sex and love often led her down dangerous paths. One of the most shocking rumors about Hedy involved her alleged addiction to sex. Some claimed that she had slept with countless men and women throughout her life, using her sexuality as a weapon to get what she wanted. But Hedy refused to be defined by her personal life. She continued to work tirelessly on her inventions, even as the world around her descended into chaos. No one can deny that Hedy Lamar's legacy is one of both beauty and brains. It's true that her stunning looks may have made her a Hollywood icon, but it was her brilliant mind that truly set her apart. While Hedy Lamar may have been a tragic figure in many ways, another Hollywood sex symbol was unapologetically embracing her sexuality and using it to challenge the status quo. Mae West, with her body humor and unabashed sensuality, would become a trailblazer for a new generation of women in Hollywood. Mae West. What defined Mae West, the body blonde bombshell of Hollywood's golden age? Well, there was never a Hollywood double entendre that she wasn't conjuring. Behind her brassy persona, Mae was a woman on a mission to challenge the status quo and push the boundaries of what was acceptable in Hollywood. Born in Brooklyn, Mae first gained fame as a stage actress and singer in the 1920s. Her provocative Broadway plays pushed the boundaries of what was considered acceptable on stage. But it wasn't until she transitioned to Hollywood in the 1930s that she truly became a sensation. It only amplified her status as a scandalous figure. With her suggestive one-liners and overt sexual references in films like She Done Him Wrong and I'm No Angel. With her curvy figure, smile, and quick wit, Mae was the ultimate sex symbol of her generation. But West's insatiable hunger for sexual conquest was not limited to the screen. She had numerous affairs with both men and women, often engaging in liaisons with multiple partners simultaneously. Her sexual exploits were the stuff of legend, and she reveled in her reputation as a woman who knew what she wanted and wasn't afraid to go after it. But Mae's unabashed sexuality and body humor often put her at odds with the conservative values of the time. Her films were frequently censored or banned outright, and she was even arrested for obscenity after one particularly risque performance. But Mae refused to be silenced. She continued to push the boundaries of what was acceptable both on screen and off. Her personal life was just as scandalous as her films, with rumors of affairs with both men and women swirling around her constantly. As she aged, West's relentless pursuit of sexual gratification took a toll on her health and relationships. She became increasingly isolated, surrounding herself with a revolving door of young lovers and yes-men who enabled her addiction. In the end, Mae West's legacy is one of fearlessness and unabashed sexuality. Therefore, while her films may have been controversial in her time, they paved the way for a new generation of women in Hollywood who refused to be defined by society's expectations. The stories of these Hollywood sex symbols may be scandalous, but they also reveal a darker truth about the price of fame and the toll that addiction can take on even the most glamorous of lives. If you liked this video, make sure to watch the videos in the end screen and in our channel about beautiful ladies of yesteryear.